When was the last time you touched grass?
3 days ago.
Hi, my name's Ariel, and I am an herbalist turned permaculture gardener. I live in Southeast Texas, Zone 9A, and today I'm going to show you the beginning of my tiny orchard. It is a food forest in the making, and I'm trying to make it at least a third native species, and the rest like productive fruit trees to feed my family. I'm applying permaculture principles to adapt it as much as possible to my climate, choosing varieties that are well suited here and natives when possible. I'm also going to be doing veggie gardening in this bed to kind of build up the soil, but we're leaving a lot of it wild because I think that's beautiful and it's easier. This is part of today's haul. They look kind of sad, but these are fig cuttings. They unfortunately had to survive a sort of hot car while I was in Aldi today after I went to meet the guy on Facebook Marketplace. I really appreciate the greater Houston area for all the fruit tree and just general plant aficionados out there who are super friendly and informative and willing to sell you plants at a very competitive price. So these are a bunch of cuttings I got for like only $4 or $6 each. Some of these like fig growers on Etsy are wanting like $20 a cutting and stuff like that, which is, valid for the really rare cuttings. I got this big Violette de Bordeaux. I got a Beers fig, an Olympic fig. The fig grower, he gave me some cuttings that already had little baby roots on them. So some of them I'll have to do the whole like rooting hormone and stick them in the soil, and other ones are already good to go. You can see a very beautiful little miniature hugelkultur compost heap. I forgot to cover the compost pile, so it's basically turning into a pumpkin patch. The whole plot is covered in this beautiful Texas ragweed. I'm pretty sure it's native. I will see like dozens of monarchs in a day just bouncing around on this golden ragweed. So the whole plot doesn't look like much yet. I had done this thing where this whole area was grass before, and then I'd covered it with cardboard, kill the grass, but I didn't kill many important species. There's a bunch of corn and beans and squash. That's a Three Sisters garden if you've heard of that. So I just have a bunch of trees. I put them every 10 feet or so. I've got a suncrest tangerine. I've got a methley plum, which is a variety of Japanese plum really suited to this area. The other plums I have is a Mexican plum over there and a cherry plum there. Those Mexican and cherry plums are from seed and they are native. I'm also going to get a Chickasaw plum soon, which is another native plum variety. So my methley plum will be my only grafted big box store non-native plum. It was hard to fit in the car. Then I have a mulberry. I replanted this mulberry twice before I got it at its third and final location where it's finally starting to settle. Just learning about Texas, what plants like, has been a challenge. Mulberry and fig are great to grow in Southeast Texas because leafcutter ants don't target them. This little stick in the ground is a turkey fig, but it's got some leaves now. It just suffered from a hard frost. I like to put pretty crystals around it, but I do need to give the trunk a little more space. We do mulch donuts here, not mulch volcanoes, so that the base of the trees can get enough air circulation and not rot or get a bunch of pests. We have to be really careful of that in humid climates. Even if it's been dry lately, I find the climate here is sometimes dry and Mediterranean and sometimes humid as hell. This figgy is doing a lot better. This is an LSU Gold. It's like a juicy honey type of fig. It might even produce a fruit this year, we will see. You can see it had some frost damage. We got a really random late season, one random night of 31 degrees and a whole week of 80 degrees. But that's just Texas for you. This is a roost. I think it's called winged sumac. And I needed to clear it out of a path I was making back in the woods. And it's finally adapting and seeming to thrive in its new spot in the full sun. It's always a gamble moving things. But this is a beautiful and smaller native tree that I can make medicine and food with. If you've ever had sumac lemonade, let me know in the comments. Again, we are full of beautiful wildflowers and weeds over here. My favorite thing. I also have some random cardboard that blew in. So aesthetic. I considered clearing all this and making everything Instagram worthy, but then I decided that I enjoy when creators are really raw and real. I have this wee little seedling apricot. It was grown from seed, which means that it will have a stronger root system, it will grow faster and just be generally hardier. If it grows up in several years or more, and I end up not liking the fruit, and I really care, I'll just graft some different fruit on it. The sunrise tangerine was half defoliated a couple weeks ago. I deep watered it yesterday on a trickle, and its leaves are starting to look better. It's been self-shedding fruit like that to tell me that it doesn't have the capacity to handle all the fruit that it had before. It had a great fruit set because the nursery that I got it from was incredible about keeping a shitload of bees in their greenhouses. Like a dangerous amount of bees if you're allergic. I'm also of the mind that like really young fruit trees do better when they produce less fruit because you don't need to be having a baby when you're like a preteen. There's that lizard that was doing his little head bobbies. All right, I got in his bubble a little too much. One of my goals for my whole property is just to make it like really wildlife friendly. I've planted some blue bonnet, which is a native lupin. I have really positive memories of being a kid and driving down the San Antonio highways covered in lupin. It does get targeted by the cutter ants sometimes, but being a nitrogen fixer and a native, it bounces back so quickly. I like to plant them sort of close to these fruit trees so that they will feed the root system as the root system kind of grows outward from here. I also learned to kind of water your fruit trees, especially on the outside, to encourage the roots to go outward. As you can see, I have an aluminum collar on this Methley plum to prevent leaf cutter targeting, and I don't think it works. But I did encourage this patch of horse mint, which is an extremely potent thymol. It smells and tastes like kitchen cleaner. It's so strong, so many essential oils, and that'll keep the ants away somewhat. It gets as tall as my husband. I had this beautiful like 3-foot tall guava tree, and I made a frost protection blanket, and the wind blew it off, so it died to the ground. The good thing about guava, it does really well in southeast Texas. If I don't keep it managed, it could sucker out. I am less angry about invasives if they are somewhat manageable and provide tasty food. This cherry plum is doing really well. It's doing better than the apricot. It's pushed a bunch of new leaves. It's well established. Again, I keep it mulched, but I also there's a slug. I fucking hate slugs, guys. So these next 3 poles don't have any fruit trees on them because they are partial to full shade all day. But these are a really convenient way of measuring things. Measuring it every 10 feet keeps these kind of medium small trees at a safe enough distance. As long as you keep your stuff pruned and you keep nutrients available, you can do semi-dense plantings, especially because like I'm going to prune anyway for productivity. And most of these trees are not going to get wider than 10 to 15 feet anyway. So the space will be dominated over here by this beautiful prehistoric princess. The ginkgo, I was worried that she wouldn't get enough sun, but at certain times of the day when the shade from the shade trees over here move, she gets plenty of sun. But this ginkgo's gonna be big, y'all, and it's gonna provide so much wonderful shade for me and my family and our future livestock. I did not plant these, but this is a little grove of sweet gum trees. Sweet gum is semi-edible. The sweet gum gumballs make the important medicine Tamiflu, so it's an antiviral, a potent antiviral. It has star-shaped leaves and little clusters. It's a really good time to eat the new spring growth. They're really delicious. They taste like a perfumey salad, but not too perfumey. But I have so many of these. They're all around this big loblolly pine. This is an Allegheny chestnut, a chinkapin chestnut. It is not the OG chestnut that was all over the East Coast, house-sized trees that all died in a random flight from China. It just doesn't get as big as those OG chestnut trees, but it will feed our family, provide shade, I think even provide some animal fodder. I got that from a native plant supplier in the Houston area. I'm just so pleasantly surprised by how much of that kind of stuff is available. All those purple flowers in the background are some lyre leaf sage, I believe. This is my Khorasan wheat. It's a really tiny crop of wheat because I'm basically just trying to grow enough wheat to have just double or triple or quadruple the amount of seeds I have. I like to make the seeds really adjusted to my place by growing them first, like getting a yield, that permaculture principle. Then I have this garden bed. We got 2 watermelons here and then some suncrest melons. I don't know how I feel about the steel raised beds for this region. I'm gonna have to grow some super heat tolerant stuff in here because they're little heaters. I can't put no lettuce in there. There's my Anna apple, by the way. She has not bloomed. But you can see my vision of having a line of fruit trees and native trees, and then an inner line, like 15 or so feet up from that. I like circles, octagons. It's really easy to design that way. I forgot to show you the elderberries. These are thriving. This is American elderberry, Sambucus canadensis, and I've got 2 of these. Oh hey, it's our boy. Oh, he's so done with my shit. I suspect that they're wonderful pest controllers, especially since he's hanging out by my half-assed compost pile. Some of my beans survived. I plant cheap-ass pinto beans from the grocery store. I really just need nitrogen fixation in the ground. That way, if like they die in a frost, it's no financial investment. The crop of pinto beans I grew last year really thrived, and I replanted those, and I think the ones that survived were those ones that grew here last year because they were just like used to the soil and the temperature and the climate and everything. The land spirit itself kind of programs into the seed. What's up? After much deliberation, I have settled on this spot for the apple tree. It's been getting full sun all day. I have it written down somewhere, the sun habit of this plot, what times are shady and what times are sunny. But the reason I have this west and south walls pretty planted full of fruit trees is because they get the most sun. Whereas these northeast edges, this whole corner is pretty shady most of the day until now. That late afternoon sun is really strong. This little apple's gonna get full sun, and it is 12 feet away from my Anna apple, who just looks like a stick right now. But it's kind of like an Algiers rune, very cute.
Right in the center of the plot, we have the golden reishi, showing that we have medicinal mushrooms and a fungally dominant soil, which means that the trees will get more nutrients and have better soil structure. We love a fungally dominant soil. And over here, we have a young, grafted Florida King Peach, very well adapted to the Gulf Coast.
So I added 3 more. I added a pineapple pear and an early blooming apricot and a chojuro Asian pear. These came from Facebook Marketplace. This guy had a really beautiful, well thought out orchard in his backyard, but he needed to thin it out a bit because they just weren't getting enough sun where they are. You can see a lot of leaf droop in this pineapple pear. It was really well established where it was. It had really rich, clover-ridden soil in a really very dense pine shade. But even though the leaves are droopy, it has perked up since yesterday. This guy pretty much knew what he was doing. I learned a couple things from him. He paints all his tree bases with lime because it keeps the bugs away. As you can see, I've got little white spritzes all around for diatomaceous earth for the darn cutter ants because they love rose family trees. The Asian pear has the best chance of thriving right off the bat because it still has a lot of leaf buds. It's only pushed out a couple leaves. And the apricot seems totally non-phased by the whole replanting situation. As you can see, these all need some mulch.
But first, I must correct a big mistake. You see, I had been planting fruit trees all wrong. I'd been mixing mushroom compost 50-50 with native soil in the giant planting hole as deep as a planting pot and 3 times as wide, like you're supposed to, right? Now, I've been going down some Reddit rabbit holes that planting in unamended straight native soil, whatever you got, is way better long-term for fruit trees and trees in general. Y'all, I had no idea, but this theory makes sense. Roots are going to be too comfortable in the rich, fertile, amended soil and not want to go past that, potentially getting root-bound, encircling themselves, refusing to delve into the more compacted, less fertile native soil. we do want to enrich the soil somehow, so we can do it from above, like so, making the compost trickle down and enticing the root system to venture out eventually. So I'm going around to the trees that I already planted. I'm making these little compost rings right outside their root ball so that when it rains and they get watered, it will trickle down, enrich that native soil, and convince the roots to venture out and manifest destiny their way into the native soil. Honestly, this is way easier. If you take anything away from this video, plant trees in native soil whenever possible and compost from above. Alright, now we will mulch. Boing! She's looking nice. We're getting a glow up. I will never have a perfectly manicured orchard. It will stay a little wild because I love the native flowers and such. But we're getting some established pathways. We're getting some mulch circles. It's starting to look pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy trees. And I'll keep you updated with this project. Bye!
What?